It feels like 4,000 years ago, but it hasn't been. And I am back. And really, I'm not even back. I'm kind of doing a debut of sorts because from the last time that I did a Troubles Weekly podcast, a thing happened where, to be really honest, I don't even know the particulars. I don't know what exactly happened, you know, but suddenly I go on, my old trusty threads, that was the thing. Wrestling fans were threaders. That was a thing, right? I go on and everyone's like, nope, threads fucked up. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not surprised. A multi-billion, trillion-dollar big tech corporation fucked up again. I mean, wow, color me shocked. Um, and then I, came to understand the whole situation that Threads just basically sucks and it's just, another cesspool. And then the really big thing happened where everyone finally woke up and were like, okay, fucking X Twitter is just literally psyop stuff, where the ruling class just basically keeps you down because they keep you mad, they keep you confused, they keep you just sort of crazed by like, am I the only human being that has a brain in my head? And it's like, no, you're not, but you're on a platform that makes you think that because everyone else sucks on this platform. So anyway, this is really the first show that I have done since the mass blue sky sort of formation that has occurred in the world. Where, I'll be honest, I had blue sky not that, on another platform, a former account. I knew of Blue Sky, but it was kind of not a thing yet. So I let that account die. I killed that account. And then, recently everyone was like, well, on Threads specifically, they were like, I'm on Blue Sky. This is what we're doing. And usually I'm not that guy. I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I'm kind of a douche when it comes to, being a boomer online. I like, the shit being the same. My wife hates me for this because she's always like, it's just another app. And I'm like, I can't do another app. What are we doing? What's the app doing to us? You know what I mean? I asked too many questions. So Blue Sky I knew immediately, though, as a great open source sort of platform where it's not this huge fucking corporation. It's people that just want a social media platform that's not toxic. So I was like, okay, we'll put the podcast on there. And let me tell you, folks, it has been a groundswell of support on Blue Sky. It's insanity. I mean, as I'm sitting here, as the crow flies, so to speak, I mean, we're sitting on like 300 followers, and I've only been on this platform. I'll pull it up directly here. Oh, God. Well, here we go. Internal issues. That's my own fault, I'm sure. But either way, yeah, I'm loving Blue Sky, man. I've got 298 followers. There you go. So I'm 2 away from 300. Insane. Everyone on Blue Sky has been great. I can't even begin to name names. Obviously, there's too many to name. But it's been great because the biggest thing is, it's real discussion. I don't necessarily see of course, there's the immediate conversation about, oh, it's just another echo chamber for these lefties, which is hilarious because I'll be 100% honest. I don't really consider myself a lefty. I really don't. I consider myself a person that reads books. I consider myself a person that actually looks into things logically. And I think that that's becoming a thing that doesn't occur on any level. And trust me, I'm not going to get political here. It's just really a thought police situation where, dude, I think my own thoughts. You can't put me in a box. I'm not that kind of guy. But I am for people having a fucking safe space. I think that shit is real. I think, why do we need to always be on guard everywhere we look at in this world? My God, this world's already so fucked. Can we not have an internet platform where I just go on and go, hey, dude, Noah's pretty sick, guys. I really love that Shugera fucking Kaito Kiyomiya GHC heavyweight title match the other night. Did you? And I get a couple likes and my life feels a little better for it. You know what I mean? So Blue Sky, great. You see it if you're watching on a video platform, the at, and if you're listening on a obviously audio platform, it is in front of you in text. So loving Blue Sky. I recommend it to people that are on the fence. Listen, just do it. You're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to feel better about the future, I think, literally. I've seen so much decorum. And honestly, the biggest thing about Blue Sky is you can just block a motherfucker. And it actually blocks them. Because that's the other issue with a lot of these platforms is you block somebody and the algorithm just kind of finds neat little ways for you to find them through other people and this and that. You don't get that on Blue Sky. So that is the end of my diatribe here. We're on almost fucking 7 minutes of me going on about Blue Sky. So there you go. That's probably the best endorsement you can think of for something. And I usually don't care about this shit, folks, but I love that the AEW, specifically wrestling community, has really sort of taken over Blue Sky. It's like, fuck yeah. All the negativity about AEW, it's unbelievable. It's ridiculous to me. I think, we'll get into it, but it's like, fuck you guys. I'm going to start off here, and I've got my notes. Listen, I have notes, folks. If you think that I'm losing my mind by myself with no direction, it's worse than that, actually. I have direction. I've written out notes for myself. I went, listen, hey, I know you're going to drink a couple beers before you record this, idiot, in the future. So I'm going to write out these notes for you when I'm not drunk, past you, not drunk. And you're going to just read them. And I still can't do that, by the way. Kenny Omega, back in the fold, came back, New Japan. He has announced he's coming back, wrestle Dynasty against Gabe Kidd and Buddy. The people that worked themselves into a shoot about this announcement are unbelievable. Folks, he's not dogging AEW by doing this. He's not shitting on them. He literally said, I don't think AEW needs me right now. And he's right. I will be the person on the internet to publicly say that Kenny Omega is correct. AEW doesn't need him right now. They do not. Because here's what people are forgetting. What they're doing right now is what NFL teams do with rookie quarterbacks and any other rookie that has actual promise. You need to develop that talent. You don't throw them out to the wolves necessarily. You develop them in a comfortable way because you know they're going to be great. And who am I talking about? I'm talking about Daniel Garcia. I'm talking about Jack Perry. I'm talking about Private Party. I'm talking about, God, so many different talents if I'm really thinking about it. The women's division as a whole. I feel like right now in AEW, the women's division's finally getting like an actual focus that isn't just, all right, we need a women's segment here. Let's throw whoever against whoever. There's actually like mini stories here, like we had with Mina Shirakawa and Harley Cameron on Collision last Saturday. I thought that was genius. Like, yeah, do a little angle. Make this shit feel like something. That's what the quote unquote attitude era 90s glory days were built on, was everyone had a purpose. It wasn't just a guy out there in fucking Speedos with his cock hanging out wrestling another guy because he's just wrestling because he got paid. It's like, well, okay, but like maybe I hate that guy, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm nuts. So I think Kenny Omega, he also knows too that New Japan, it's not been a great time for them. since AEW happened. Let's not mince words. I mean, they've been on the downturn since then because all their top guys went to AEW and made AEW. I mean, it is what it is. And so they've had to go to square one. What I'm talking about, AEW has done. And they've had to develop the Yota Tsujis and the Shota Uminos and those guys. And it's working, but it's a long process. And I think people have gotten too WWE'd in their minds where, you think that a guy just shows up on SmackDown one night and they're a superstar. That's not how the real world works. And especially outside of WWE, that's not how the wrestling world works. You got to grind. You got to be a guy that comes in and pays his dues and pays the price for the fan base. Because if they don't, why would they give a fuck about this person? So I think Kenny Omega, listen, he's dead right. He doesn't need to come back to AEW. He needs to come back to fucking New Japan. Build them up because they need his fucking star power right now. AEW doesn't need that shit right now. Everyone's freaking out about ratings that are just so fucking arbitrary, and there's so many little footnotes and cliff notes to every rating. It's like, okay, it's a 3-point dick because this game was on that everyone wanted to see. It's like, guys, relax. AEW's all right. To that point, right before I started recording this podcast, I had everything together, guys. I had my ducks in a row. Q101, the alternative rock station out in Chicago, puts out an old YouTube interview with our buddy, the president of AEW, Tony Khan. And I went, well, fuck me. Now I'm delayed 35 minutes because I got to watch this fucking interview. Because I can't. Listen, folks, if I'm going to do a show for you people, I got to be right on the current pulse of the shit, okay? I can't fuck it up for you people. I feel like that's a disservice to the people. So thankfully, it was only 35 minutes, and really what we got out of this was simple. Kind of what we already knew. Tony Khan is a lover of the business. He's a mark in a good way. Talked about Mid-South 1984 shit. He talked about Memphis 87. I mean, the guy knows his shit. We already kind of figured that. I think this interview kind of showed me like a human side of the guy. I think it just, yeah, he seemed like a down-to-earth dude. He didn't seem all coked out like people make him out to be. My wife's here to do a shot, so we're going to do a shot for Tony Khan here. Just going to be seamless. We're not, oh, the wife said it's not for Tony Khan. Okay, who are you doing it for? Charlie. We're doing it for Charlie, folks. The banner image on the blue sky is our beloved Charles, who has left us. So, yeah. Yeah, Tony Khan talking about wrestling. I liked it. It was a good interview. I mean, it was. He looked good. And I thought he brought up a great point because I'll say this about, I believe his name was Case, the interviewer for Q101. He knew his shit. That guy knows his shit about wrestling, and good for him because you really should know your shit if you're going to interview somebody like TK. And he fucking threw it out there about, to everyone that, looks at the attendance and everything. What do you have to say? And I think Tony Khan really sort of laid it out in a great way that even kind of woke me up, where he said, I think people need to realize that we've only been a true full tour, like TV live event company since really 2021, because we started in the middle of 2019. We only got to early March 2020, shut down, had to just keep everything in house in one place. It's not like we're moving shit. There's no logistics to doing Daly's place. You just got to like fucking do the flights. That's not the same thing as having production trucks there and blah, blah, blah. So I think he's right. I think that sometimes people are like, well, it's 2024 and AEW is not selling out every building. It's like, but they've been behind the 8 ball since fucking the pandemic. I mean, WWE has connections. They can fucking, they could re-solder their fucking issues after the pandemic. That's no problem. They've got all the corporate sponsors in the world. AEW, they're still a baby company once 2021 happens. That's a 2-year company. That's nothing. And they've managed to weather the storm. And I think it's a good thing, the reports that have come out that they're going to start running smaller buildings in 2025. I think that's a good move. I think that's kind of common sense. You guys, it just looks better on TV when you're selling out a smaller building rather than having this large building with gaps. I mean, that's common sense. We all know that. It's not like fucking AEW blinders here. It's like, yeah, I mean, we all don't want to see that. Another funny thing out of the interview was he said, the 2 other interests that we saw out of all the little measurables that we did of the AEW fan base was alternative music and golf. So there you go, folks. You're either a guy that cares about his swing or you listen to Alice in Chains. I don't understand. So that makes a lot of sense. Everyone's everywhere with the AEW fan base, and that's probably why a lot of people don't understand the AEW fan base. And I also really did love Tony Khan putting over CMLL. He talked about how, after WCW went away and he was in college, that really CMLL was the only weekly TV you could get in Chicago, which makes sense. A lot of people forget Chicago has a huge Mexican population, so lucha is going to be easy to find on your TV, regardless of your TV deal. Yeah, so I like that he has really made a big deal out of it, to the point that, of course, what I saw when I woke up today and logged into the old Blue Sky account was he went further about the CMLL love, and he said that he wants to run an AEW show proper in Arena, Mexico very soon if the family of CMLL that runs it would let them do that. I think that's probably a no-brainer. And man, I'm telling you, that'd be a great show. Be a lot of great wrestling there. And then the other thing that was great was he really put over Orange Cassidy versus Moxley for the title Saturday night. Said it was the match that he's most looking forward to. It's, long-term storytelling. He did a great job. He laid it out perfectly. I think this is the best that TK has looked in a long time in every way. I think physically, discussional, just he was very on point. And I think, he looks like somebody that's focused. I think maybe he's allowed more people to run things for him. It does definitely seem like he's less exhausted by it all, and maybe it's just today, but man. And of course, if I'm going to talk about positives of AEW, that means the ghost of AEW past, douchey Phil, old CM Punk, has reared his ugly head. Of course, every single week of an AEW pay-per-view, it's so funny that either him or Jim Cornette or whoever else that shits on AEW on a consistent basis rears their ugly head. And this time, of course, it was our buddy Phil, and he had the comment that he feels he did waste some matches on some guys when he was there. Well, no shit. And I say this, how about they wasted matches with you because you haven't been healthy in like 2 years, like total. I can't think of the last like fucking calendar year that CM Punk has been healthy in a wrestling ring. It hasn't happened. Where's he at right now? I thought he was coming back. What are we doing? That's what I'm talking about. And he wants to talk about he wasted matches. No, AEW wasted their money on you. Okay, buddy? Period. And then I'll go further and be fair. WWE wasted even more money to get you back because you've done fuck all. Yeah, sure. Drew McIntyre had a good little boost of his fucking stardom that he already was a star of when you showed up, and he could just clown on you so easily because, again, it's fucking simple at this point. Rollins as well. Again, already a made guy. Didn't need you. What else? What was it going to be? Gunther? Wonderful. So what? Gunther's going to lose the world title to your old ass? Jesus Christ, people. Anyway, that's all I got to say for that guy. Hurt Syndicate in AEW. Unbelievable. And I saw a very great thing on Blue Sky. And in fact, let me put this fucking guy over because I thought this was a great point. And it was Elite Boy over on Blue Sky, one word. And he said, you know what? Scorpio Sky would be a good fit in the Hurt Syndicate. And you know what? The more I thought about it and I talked to him throughout that deal, I agree. I think, everyone's thinking that like Swerve's going to go heel again and like be their leader or whatever. I don't think that works. I think what works is Scorpio Sky being brought into the fold with Lashley, Shelton, and MVP, because then you have a unique grouping. But you got Scorpio Sky having AEW credentials on top of the other Hurt Syndicate guys having elsewhere credentials. I think that works super, super well. So I did definitely want to mention that because I thought that was a great point. I think that would be solid. And he's just sitting. It's like, what is Scorpio Sky doing? The guy is too talented to just be sitting at home doing nothing. He definitely needs something. And this would be wonderful. I think it would be a great addition to them. And they're a new act in AEW. Gives them an AEW original, literally, to come in and sort of like give them, again, that AEW sort of look. So, Continental Classic, of course, begins next Wednesday on Dynamite in Chicago. The only participant, of course, that we know that is going to be in the tournament is Okada, who's defending his Continental title. I like that stipulation that whoever's got the title, has to defend it throughout the Continental Classic. I like that. There was rumors throughout the last week. Speedball Mike Bailey going to AEW. We now are being told that by the end of December is the latest or the earliest that AEW has him available. He's expected to come in early January instead. So that, of course, takes him out of the Continental Classic. He was kind of my favorite as like the dark horse guy. Now, though, I have another one. And I think, it fits exactly what we were talking about earlier. What about Gabe Kidd being part of the Continental Classic, representing New Japan? I think it works on a lot of levels. It also helps build the Omega match. You give Gabe Kidd a couple AEW wins going into Wrestle Dynasty. I think it works on a lot of levels. So that's another one. Maybe a little bit of me trying to use a fake crystal ball here and tell you exactly what's going to happen, even though I have no fucking clue. Gabe Kidd in the Continental Classic, I think, would be wonderful. A thing that's kind of not been wonderful has been the MJF, Roderick Strong, Adam Cole fucking weird thing. I don't even know what to say. It's not a vortex like Jericho's bullshit. It's like, it's a half pregnant thing. That's what I would say. As I swig this beer, because, oh my gosh, I need a lot of liquid courage to try to unweave this fucking knot that is the fucking timeline of this whole feud that we have going between these three guys. As of now, because Adam Cole lost to Takeshita last week, that was his third match he had to win. He did not. And Roddy did win his third match. It is now MJF and Roderick Strong one-on-one at Full Gear. We will get into what I think is going to happen there, but I did want to have a whole other like little discussion of, listen, this is a mess in a fucking half. And I had hopes. When they first started it, a lot of people were already like, this is garbage. And I was the guy. Okay, I was the guy that was like, no, it's not garbage. It's fine. It's garbage, guys. I'm so sorry. They were right. This is garbage. I don't know what the fuck you do to salvage this. We'll get into later what I think you might have to do to salvage this. And it's not even a good thing, in my opinion. But we're going to do this chronologically. We have Dynamite tonight we got to look forward to. And, of course, Full Gear Saturday night. So let's start with Dynamite, or what I think will occur, and also just what we have to look forward to. First up, the Chris Jericho Tomohiro Ishii 2 contract signing for next Wednesday for the ROH World title. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even necessarily care. I want Jericho's chest to get chopped bloody tonight. But I also, more importantly, want Ishii to win that ROH World title next week. Good Lord. Because the rumors have come out that perhaps ROH has finally landed a television deal for True TV, which is part of the Discovery Warner deal. Okay? And I understand that we have this thought, and they did it with AEW proper as well, where Jericho got the world title just to give them a TV deal. If that's legit the only reason you get a TV deal, okay, maybe. But I think Ishii should win this fucking match next week. I don't get the learning tree thing. It's not even that I don't get it. Sadly, I get it. I just don't give a fuck. Okay? So there's that. Another one. I don't give a fuck at all about this, but apparently it's over and I don't get it. The Costco guy, Big Boom AJ, will be live. And you know what? Here's the deal. This is how this is going to be great. This will be me popping my wife tonight because she doesn't, I know for a fact she doesn't get it about this because I don't get it because I think it's fucking stupid as fuck. But I'm going to turn the fucking volume on. By the way, also full disclosure, if I sound like garbage, I've been sick as shit lately. Okay? So if you hear me sounding like I'm dying, and I know I sound like I'm dying because I have the monitor in my ear, listen. It was either no show or a shit show. So we're leaning into the shit show part, I guess. So that's it. You know, QT and little AJ's deal, whatever. People care, then good for AEW. Other than that, we have the stars of CMLL tonight, as well as next week in Chicago. CMLL's awesome. I mean, we've just talked about how awesome they are, so that'll be fun to watch. Chris Statlander, Hikaru Shida, unbelievable match. Of course, I think Statlander wins to get that boost going into the Mercedes match for Full Gear. But I think it'll be a good one. I think she's in the ring with the right one, Shida. For Shida, it's like, dude, you do deserve better. You've been sort of an anchor for this women's division from day one. And it feels like you're kind of on the outside. It's like bizarre. But either way. And I'm very excited about this all-star 8-man tag. Will Ospreay, Powerhouse, Ricochet, Mark Davis against Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, Lance Archer, Brian Cage. It's going to be great. I would assume it's going to be a babyface win, one way or the other, of course. You got to kind of put them over, I guess. Either way, it'll be fun. All these people can work. Can't hate on it. It's going to be great. Darby Allin against Claudio. It's just literally going to be Darby getting thrown around like nothing and Claudio looking like a fucking horse that he is. I can't pick a winner. I would assume Darby, but I also think probably Claudio because of what I think the main event will be, which is Orange Cassidy against his former protege Wheeler Yuta. I think Orange will win that match, so I think Claudio probably will beat Darby and destroy him probably severely. That leads us into Full Gear. What do you think? And of course, we just talked about it, 0 Hour. Fucking Costco guy AJ against QT. I'm sure the Costco fucking guy from TikTok will win the match. 0 Hour. Fuck. That leads us to Jack Perry, Daniel Garcia for the TNT title. I think it's Daniel's time. I think he takes the championship here. I really, truly do. I like Jack Perry as champion. I think it's working. But I think you've done too many almosts with Daniel Garcia that at this point, I think it's time. I think you got to give him that title. Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher. I think this will be a great one. I think it'll be a long one, but I think it will be one that Ospreay wins and comes back to the next level. Speaking of the next level, Hangman Adam Page, Jay White, these guys are on a whole other level of like pretty much anyone on the planet right now. They had a great match at Wrestle Dream. They always have a great match. I'm always going to be partial to Jay White. He's my guy, but I think it's a 5-1 overall record all time for Jay White. I think we're going to start getting a little more Hangmans in there, unfortunately, for people like myself. I think Hangman wins the match. It's also the fucking event that his whole thing on BTE created. Like, it's called Full Gear because he's got to be in full gear because he was fat on BTE, people. He's got to win he's got to be the Undertaker of Full Gear, folks. That's what I'm trying to say. Swerve Strickland, Bobby Lashley. We know his shoulder's fucked. I think Bobby takes this one. I think it's going to be a battle. I think Bobby Lashley will look better than he has looked in years because he's going to work the style I hope he works, which is more mat-based, more I'm a killer. I'm not just a fucking WWE guy that throws people around. I said it earlier. MJF, Roderick Strong, right as of now, is the match announced. I think somehow Adam Cole gets himself in this thing, and it's going to be a three-way. I think in that three-way, Roderick Strong will turn his back on Adam, join MJF. MJF will win that match, and we will be off to the races with another version of this angle, good or bad. So everyone can be mad all they want. Moment of silence for that. And then we have the 4-way tag title match. I like that they made like little contender things. They kind of made it almost a tournament to get to this 4-way. That was fun to watch. The Kings of the Black Throne, Malachi Black, Brody King against the Acclaimed, the Outrunners, and the tag team champions of the world, Private Party. I think Private Party leaves still the champions of the world, and I think they have a little bit of a run here. I don't think it's time, but I think this will be a very, very good match. And we have the TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné against Chris Statlander. I think Chris Statlander will win, or will not win this match, excuse me. I think she loses here. Mercedes is going to have a long run with this TBS title, whether anyone likes it or not. And Camille could not matter any less. We have a champions celebration. Mariah May, Mina Shirakawa. I think Toni Storm returns. Whether she's timeless or not, I don't know, but she will come back, and she's not retiring like all these people online that are buying it, which I think is ridiculous. And then, of course, our main event, Jon Moxley defending the world championship against Orange Cassidy. Look, guys, I would love to tell you that this is just going to be Orange's night. He's going to come out there. He's going to win this championship, finally be the world champion. That'd be great, but I don't think that happens. And in fact, I've thought this for a while. I think that Orange will have the title won. Fuckery will occur. And I think Shane McMahon will be debuted as the benefactor of the Death Riders. And I think Orange loses. And we have a complete fucking whirlwind after this show. I think it's happening. I've had a feeling Shane McMahon's involved with AEW after not just the picture, but just, I mean, it makes all the sense in the world. And for people that are like, you know, he's part of that evil, you know, there's a lot of hatred for anything WWE adjacent right now. And I get it. I understand. But I don't think every single human being that's ever been involved with WWE was involved with a lot of abuse. I don't. I think that's just illogical. I really do. I think if you're one of those people that thinks that, I think you're being a little illogical. I think that a lot of people that were in the inside, and I think what people need to realize is Shane really wasn't an inside quote unquote guy. People think because Vince was his dad that he just told him everything. Trust me, by many accounts, that was not the case. There was a lot of strain with Shane and Vince, and especially as of late, I don't know if necessarily they were communicating. So all the shit that Vince has done, that's Vince. You cannot blame the son for that. I think that's kind of shitty. Unless something comes out that he's absolutely involved in, I think we need to chill on that. And that's another thing about social media that's sad, is we just jump on that shit. And I don't, without any evidence. So I don't think that. In fact, from a lot of the accounts that I've, read and watched based on interviews and stuff, I mean, trust me, folks, I'm a psychopath for this shit. I've watched a lot of shoot interviews. I've watched a lot of the Chris Van Vliet's, and you don't hear a lot of negative stories about Shane McMahon. You've heard some negative stories about Stephanie. You've heard some negative stories about old Hunter fucking Helms. You have heard plenty about Vince, plenty about Bruce Pritchard, and blah, blah, blah. I haven't heard a whole lot of Shane McMahon being a real piece of shit stories. I just haven't. And maybe that's just me. But with that said, I think this is a great way to sort of put the cherry on top of this whole Death Riders thing. Because I'll say this, there's got to be an escalation of it, or this angle just doesn't have a lot of legs. If this is just an in-house deal and we don't reveal something and we don't have a huge shift, then I don't see why we're even doing it to begin with. So it's got to be something on that level. Or it is kind of just, we're just putting the world title in a briefcase to, I guess, put Marina Shafir over, which has worked, but maybe go beyond that as well. So that's what I think about Full Gear. Also, little quick WWE shit, because of course, I don't naturally follow much of that. The one positive in the WWE world is, of course, Rhea Ripley has returned, and she has the Cody Rhodes fucking face shield, which is great. Hey, I get it. You're selling the fake fucking injury or whatever it is. War Games. I love War Games. I think War Games is one of the premier fucking events of wrestling. It always was, regardless of what company owned it. Very excited for War Games, especially if Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, and all these women are on the same match. That's fucking awesome. That's great. We're yet to see what the final little deal is for the men's one. I would assume The Rock will get involved. Don't know who else. Rollins straight up said, fuck you. I don't want to deal with Roman. So that was a nice little wrinkle. That's basically all that's going on with WWE. Feels like everything's a stopgap to get to Netflix in January. And I kind of understand it. So with that said, you hear my voice going out. I'm not going to apologize whatsoever for it. I will, though, end this podcast and say I'll be back. I might have a voice, but I definitely will be ready to talk some fucking CMLL and AEW.